Welcome back to Perfectly Claire. I'm Doug Taylor, your host for these real conversations about intuition, spirit, and the senses we often overlook. Today's guest brings a rare and meaningful blend of ancestral tradition, cultural wisdom, and spiritual insight. I'm speaking with Sneska, also known as Sandy from Vestica's Oddities and Wellness. Sandy's a third-generation Serbian tasseomancer, favomancer, Romani Lenormand Oracle Reader, Reiki Master, and a licensed officiant with the Canadian International Metaphysical Ministry. Welcome, Sandy, to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that was a mouthful as an introduction. And as the show goes on today, we're going to get into all those things that we just discussed earlier. So can you tell us a little bit about your heritage and how it shaped your path into tasseomancy and favomancy?
So it's interesting. So my dad comes from a very small village in the Romanian part of Serbia, which is very culturally enriched in folk magic and that sort. So Wahalian and Moldovan and that sort of stuff. So very culturally enriched in folk magic and folk healing and that sort. And my grandmother read, and my mom reads coffee cups, and I know my maternal side, my grandmother read as well. So it's a passed down heritage, yeah.
And what does it mean to you to carry on these ancestral practices?
Oh golly, it's an honor. It's an absolute honor to be able to continue to honor my roots. And to be able to share that with others and to teach with others. Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned your grandmother, your mother. I guess were there any other elders in your life who passed down this knowledge to you?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about understanding the practices. But for those unfamiliar with tasseomancy, how does it differ from favomancy, and what is tasseomancy, first of all?
Okay, so tasseomancy, if you've ever heard of tea leaf readings, it's the same art. It's just with coffee, as opposed to tea. So a lot of it is mediumship and scrying and being able to look at the different symbolisms in the picture inside your cup and be able to put it into a full story. Yeah, it could very well be images of dogs or just paths or mountains or anything. And how does that all form into one picture? And to be able to tell you the fortune there.
So, and I guess the question next would be, what are being readings like, and where do they come from?
So it is an Eastern European, Middle Eastern divination as well. So very similar to. The best way I could describe it would be like bone casting or rune casting or anything, but it's just with beans, white cooking beans, or even dried corn as well. So yeah. Because What did you have back then is what you had on hand, right? So whether it was beans or corn.
Yeah. Wow. And we also talked about Lenormand cards. So what drew you to Lenormand cards versus other decks? Because you also read tarot too, right?
Yeah. Yes. So it was Lenormand is very similar to cartomancy, right? So playing cards and that sort of thing. But the particular Romani deck that I use is from Serbia as well. So I translate it into English. It's very similar to a Kipper deck. So yeah, I love using that deck because it's very, how do I say, in your face, but very straight up and just what you need to know right now.
Well, my daughter, I'm sure if you've listened to one of our previous podcasts, my daughter reads tarot.
I love it.
And,
I love it.
Yeah, I wasn't really in a position where I really was comfortable with it for a long, long time. I'm starting to get more comfortable with it now, but not that I read tarot. I just the whole process. I'm becoming a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I always say just take your time when you're ever learning a new deck or a new divination form or what have you. Is just take your time. No need to rush, and just try to get as much knowledge as you can, especially with tarot because of the major arcanas and the minor arcanas and how does that all work. And yeah, it can be very overwhelming. So just take your time. Yeah.
So, how do you blend or choose between different tools in a session?
I like to, so for example, with tasseomancy and my Lenormand deck, as they're drinking the coffee or the tea, sometimes I just like to pull a couple cards. It's like, what do you need to know now? And what's your initial messaging right now that you need to know? And I'll pull a couple cards and read through those cards. And then after I give them instructions on how to swirl and how to cast the cup. And then what I like to do with the cup too is also take pictures of the cup because I like to show them exactly what I see in the cup because they may not be able to see it. Right. So, and it's pretty interesting because once I show them the entire picture and how it relates inside their cup, because as you move the cup, you'll have like residual liquid that may remove the imagery. And it's so interesting because they're like, oh my gosh, I can see how that story is coming through and how it all comes together. And it's just a part of that experience as well. So yeah.
It's amazing. And how do these practices reflect or honor your cultural lineage?
Oh gosh, coffee, having a cup of coffee with your neighbors and your family is super, super important. Just being able to break bread and have a gathering with your friends and family and all of that stuff is just super, super important. So, yeah.
And we have coffee every day, right? Coffee or whatever with friends.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So let's talk about the energy, the ritual, and Reiki. So how does your Reiki practice support or interact with your readings?
Oh gosh. I'd like to start with even a meditation, just a quick 2-minute meditation. Well, not 2-minute, but just a quick meditation. If they're having a hard time because something may come up in a reading where it's just hard to get through. You know, it's just giving them that space and also being able to do a meditation, do some breathing exercises. And if I do need to do a Reiki session after, whether it's chair Reiki, table Reiki, it does not matter. I will finish up the session that way and close out the session that way if we need to. So, and a lot of people like that because it just keeps going with the flow, right? So
do you see your readings as energy work in themselves?
I would say so. Yeah. I would say so.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of mediumship, divination, and definitely energy work. Yeah.
And you're also a licensed officiant.
Yes.
How did that calling come to you?
Actually, from my Reiki master, believe it or not. So she introduced me to SIM, which is the acronym for Canadian International Metaphysical Ministry. And she was talking about her weddings and everything that she does. And she said, you would be a great fit, just who you are and what you have to offer and everything. She goes, you just connect with people naturally and just able to help. You're a servant of others. And so she introduced me to SIM, and then I finally became an ordained minister this past winter. So, and I'm so very grateful for that journey.
Well, congratulations. What kind of ceremonies do you perform?
Weddings, elopements, funerals, celebrations of life, baby blessings, naming ceremonies, even house blessings, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So how do you bring your spiritual perspective into events like weddings, blessings, memorials, those sort of things?
Absolutely. One great thing about I like SIM, it's all cultures, all faiths, that sort of thing. So As long as I have a spiritual aspect to it, whether, and it doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, I will honor anything. And it's just, as long as I have a spiritual aspect, whether it's a unity candle, bringing two families together, or even a sand prop. So if you have your own favorite color, and then in your centerpiece that you have like a separate vase or something that you have as a memento for yourself and the two families, we can pour sand in there and that sort of thing, or whether it's a special reading that you and your partner love, or even your family love, that sort of thing. So yeah, there's so many different spiritual aspects we can put into a 30 or 40-minute ceremony. Yeah.
And ritual is very important, but why is it important in times of transition?
Oh, golly. I would say it's being able to honor yourself and honor your ancestors and honor your roots, and just being able to continue to move forward. And yeah.
Wow. So we talk about the cultural aspect of it, the meaning and integrity, but how do you navigate practicing sacred or ancestral arts in a modern world?
I ask a lot of questions. I definitely have to educate myself. I always definitely research, a lot of research, and really, like I said, ask a lot of questions to those individuals that may be able to assist me. I may not know a specific tradition that you like to honor, but it's like, okay, help me, guide me, that sort of thing. Whether there's a specific reading or something, that I have to do, I will be glad to do that. So yeah, it's just honoring and that sort of just educating myself. And
integrity is very important.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
How does cultural integrity, what does it look like in your work?
Oh gosh, honesty and having high morals and ethics. Absolutely.
And especially in today's world, right? I mean, I spoke with Jackie earlier in one of our shows about astrology, and long time ago, everything was done by charts and by hand, right? Whereas now there's an app for this and an app for that, and it cuts down on things. And I think the integrity of your past history has to be first and foremost. I know when I'm looking at palmistry myself, I don't go on the internet and look at a hand and these lines, this line's for that. No, I mean, it's strictly what I see, and there's no technology really involved with it, and that's hard in this world that we're living in the modern world, that everything's so readily available. And I think it's a little untrue with the technology, because you're reading or you're interpreting what the app says or what technology says, not what your heart says or what your mind's eye see, depending on the type of reading it is or practice it is, right?
It's being able to adapt between the two as well, right? And continuing to follow the, having integrity and having that high moral compass and being, honest. Yeah.
So do you ever experience pushback or misunderstanding around your practices?
Not pushback.
Misunderstanding, perhaps.
I think misunderstanding in the sense, not misunderstanding, is just not. Everyone knows tea leaf readings, but not very many people know Turkish coffee. So explaining the difference between the two and showing that. But no, I've never had any pushback or anything. I am very aware that not everyone will be aligned with what I do, and that is okay. I am totally open to that.
So just a quick question, sort of going backwards, is with the beans. What do you see? What are the bean readings like, and where do they come from?
Great question. So, so there's different ways of casting beads. So, traditionally, you would use it on a red cloth of some sort, and it's in a 3x3 square. So you could do like a past, present, future, just like threes. You can just cast them by three, or you can do each three horizontal sections. You could have it as like mind, communication, and emotion. But to go into a deep and delving reading, it's each box. I'm going to call it a box, right?
Yes.
But each square means a specific thing. So whether it's your housing, your work, your family, that sort of stuff, and then how you cast it, there's a specific number of beans that you use, and how you put it into three piles, and how many you pull from each pile, and whatever's left over, that is how many you put into that quote unquote square. And based on, it's kind of almost like numerology in a sense, where each number, however many beans you have in that square, means a specific thing. And how it all correlates horizontally, vertically, diagonally. Like it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
And how long did it take you to learn all that?
Oh gosh. I did it when I was a young kid at the dinner table. So just picked up on it because my grandmother did it. And then I lost it in my teenage years. And then I just started practicing it again in the last few years, and just reintroduced it last year. Yeah.
So what was your age when you first felt that you could read something in a cup, whether it was tea leaves or coffee or anything for that matter?
13 or 14.
Wow. Okay. Because I tell everybody mine happened when I was about 5, because I see a lot of spirit, a lot of people that's passed. And for the longest time, I tried to block it. And
yes.
And I'm starting to relearn how to stay open, which is one of my closing remarks that you'll hear tonight. But yeah, I'm finding it a little more easier as each day goes by to keep myself open. But and what do you wish people understood more about all these arts? And they are arts, as far as I can see. It's not something everyone does.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I agree with being open, being curious, asking a lot of questions, and just and don't be afraid to learn. Don't be and to teach as well. Yeah, definitely. If there's something that you want to learn and that sort of stuff, definitely ask the appropriate questions and from the appropriate people. If it's a closed practice, then no. Naturally, then no. You. But if it's open, like tasseomancy or anything like that, then yes, definitely try it out. Pick up a cup and try it out, or have someone teach you.
So you just picked it up,
yes,
and you saw things.
Yep.
Okay. So no one, and then people may have guided you, but you saw things in a cup, right?
Yeah. No, I saw it. I saw it right away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Now my mother, we used to joke, and if you would have to have your cup read by my mom in order to be initiated in the family. But now everyone comes to see me. So
do you see, I try not to read family. I just, because when I see a palm, I can usually see something there, a story or something, right? And so I try not to read family or even close friends, because everybody, and I go back to my earlier episodes, it's like a party favor, right? Oh, you're the person that can read tea leaves. You're the person that can do this. Well, show us how you do it, And well, who's going to win the World Series next week, right? I mean,
right. No, I keep it very open, and in the sense of I take my bias out of it and just, I read the cup. That's it.
You read the news. That's been my mantra for years.
Yeah. I tell you what's in your cup.
So we get into some personal reflections and stories. And can you share a reading or a moment that was especially moving for you?
Actually, most recently,
it doesn't have to be recent, and we certainly don't want anything that is going to compromise.
No. It was last year. I would call it most recent. Where I read a mom and a daughter, and it was two separate readings. One was a cup reading, and the other one was a card reading. And I read the cup first, and just as I was going around the cup and just talking about this individual that was showing up in the cup and just what they were going through and that sort of thing, I said, okay, we're going to put a pin on that because we need to address this, but we're going to put a pin on this. And I just kept on going and kept on going and kept on going. And then as I circled back around in the cup, I came back to this individual and just how I closed out with that individual that was showing in the cup, just the one word that I said, and I can't say the word because it will cross that path of confidentiality, right?
Yeah. But it could have been door or something, right?
Yeah, right.
Just for talking's sake.
But the word is explosion. That's the best way I can describe it. And both the mom and the daughter just sat back and just started crying. And they explained to me exactly what
the
happened.
Connection.
Exactly. And I was absolutely moved by that. And they thanked me for validating what was happening and how to handle that. So, yeah.
Wow. What do you think your clients have taught you over the years?
Oh, golly. To continue to serve others.
Yeah, I would agree.
Definitely continue to serve others. To continue to have that open community, a safe space for others, and that sort. So that has been the growing feedback lately.
and so, what keeps you inspired to keep doing this work?
The thank yous, the hugs, the emotions behind it, the friendships that I've created afterward. And definitely, and referrals are great. When you were at a women's expo and a lady that you read not that long ago, she stops and says to her friend, it says, you need to see this woman. I had a reading from her. She's amazing. And, I'm a very humble person, and just to hear that type of feedback that you've impacted another soul in such a way is just so heartwarming, and I'm just super grateful and blessed.
Great. And as you know, our show is called Perfectly Claire. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, what clair senses are the strongest for you?
Oh gosh, definitely. Mediumship. I definitely, I'm a seer, and
So be clairvoyance.
Yes, exactly. And auditory as well. Yep.
Okay. So you hear things, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always have to ask that to my guests. Actually,
absolutely.
I have to with a show called Perfectly Claire.
It works. I couldn't disagree. I couldn't disagree. This is perfect.
So, what message would you like to leave for someone curious about tasseomancy or ancestral spiritual practices?
Oh, definitely. Definitely, if you can, if time and money allows, if you need to travel, go travel. If not, ask your family, ask your friends, go with the community, be curious, definitely gain as much knowledge as you can. Yeah, that would be definitely the number one thing.
Great. So where can people find you if they want a reading, healing, or to attend one of your ceremonies?
Oh gosh, I am. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Vestica's Oddities and Wellness. I'm also my email. So Vestica's Oddities Wellness, all one word, at gmail.com, and via phone.
You've got a lot of contact out there. So so thank you, Sandy, for sharing your story, your roots, and your practice with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
And if you're feeling called to connect with ancestral wisdom, spiritual ritual, or culturally rooted readings, follow Sandy and reach out for a session. All of her links are in the show notes. And to our listeners, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at perfectlyclaire@gmail.com or connect with us on our website. And until next time, stay open, stay curious, and trust what you feel.